When Colonel Richard Kemp speaks, people listen. Colonel Kemp is considered an authority on counter-terrorism tactics. He was the commander of the British forces in Afghanistan. He also fought in Iraq, South Asia, the Balkans, and Northern Ireland. As the fighting in Gaza raged, Richard Kemp found time to speak with Keren Hayesod, an organization that has been supporting the residents of the South for so many years.
There's no question about what Hamas is trying to do. Hamas is dedicated to the extermination of the Jewish state, of the state of Israel. And if Israel doesn't defend itself and prevent Hamas from carrying out these attacks, Hamas will inexorably carry on with that goal. They will never succeed in that goal. The state of Israel will, of course, survive. Hamas can never eliminate the state of Israel. But it is incumbent upon the Western world, upon the United Kingdom, the United States, the EU countries, Australia, Canada, all of the countries in the world, it's incumbent upon us to stand by our allies, Israel, to make sure that they do not suffer death and destruction at the hands of Hamas. It's not just a question of the fight of Israel, it's a question of the survival and the fight of the Western world against international jihad, which is a scourge that threatens each and every one of us.
During the lead up to the Goldstone report in 2009, it was Richard Kemp who went to the UN Human Rights Council and spoke to the nations of the world.
Mr. President, based on my knowledge and experience, I can say this. During Operation Cast Lead, the Israeli Defense Forces did more to safeguard the rights of civilians in a combat zone than any other army in the history of warfare.
He didn't say that because he was working for the state of Israel or working with Jewish organizations. He said that because he believed it.
I've spent 30 years of my life fighting the kind of terrorism and extremism that the IDF is fighting tonight in Gaza. An enemy who use their own civilian population as human shields, who want us to kill their people, who use mosques, synagogues, schools, hospitals. They use all of these places which are protected under the Geneva Convention. They use all of these places as military sites to attack Israeli forces from, to carry out, to store weapons. And as a consequence, I can understand, I can see why the Israelis operate as they do. And British soldiers, if you speak to virtually any British soldier, serving or retired, he will understand what the Israelis do. He will admire what the Israeli soldiers do, and he will support it because he has done the same thing himself. He has fought these people who use 14-year-old boys to throw grenades at their soldiers in the hope that either they will hesitate because they don't want to shoot a boy.
Richard Kemp speaks about the unique moral compass of Israel's soldiers, which guides them through the battlefields and back.
And I spoke to one young Israeli soldier who was no more than about 19 years of age. He said to me, preserving the life of innocent civilians was more important to him than his own life. You don't find that among very many soldiers. But if you ask me whether I'm pro-Israel or not, I am pro-Israel. I'm pro-Israel, I'm pro-America, I'm pro-Britain, I'm pro-France. And if you ask me whether I'm anti-Hamas, of course I'm anti-Hamas. Hamas is a prescribed terrorist group. I'm anti the Taliban, I'm anti-Al-Qaeda. Of course, you asked me to take sides between a Western liberal democracy, Israel, and a prescribed terrorist group, Hamas. Of course, there's no question, there's no option. But at the same time, I'm going to give, as far as I can, an objective, professional, military view of the dispute, of the conflict that's going on here in the Middle East.